Chapter 3. Your win is making ministry sustainable. One of the most dangerous things for an executive pastor is measuring success the wrong way. Because if you don't know what a win looks like for your role, you'll spend your energy chasing approval instead of impact. And approval is a moving target. Let me describe a familiar feeling. You end a Sunday exhausted. Services went well, attendance was strong, nothing broke, and yet, no one mentions your name. The sermon gets praised, the worship gets celebrated, the atmosphere gets noticed, your contribution disappears into the background. And quietly, a question creeps in. Did I actually do anything that mattered? That question is not a sign of pride. It's a sign that your definition of success needs correction. Because the executive pastor's win is rarely visible in the moment. Your win shows up over time. Here's the core truth of this chapter. The executive pastor wins when ministry becomes sustainable. Not flashy, not impressive, sustainable. That means people last, leaders stay healthy, volunteers don't burn out, growth doesn't break systems, vision doesn't outrun capacity. If the church can grow without cracking, you are winning, even if no one says it out loud. Church culture often celebrates moments, but executive pastors are responsible for momentum. Moments inspire, momentum carries, and momentum requires pace, structure, discipline, trade-offs. Those aren't emotional wins, they're long-term ones. Here's a hard but freeing realization. If you tie your success to applause, you will resent your role. Because applause goes to the platform, and your work lives behind it. Instead, you must learn to celebrate different markers of faithfulness. Markers like fewer last-minute emergencies, clearer staff communication, volunteers who stay for years, leaders who sleep better, fewer fires reaching the senior pastor. Those are not accidents, they are operational fruit. Let's address something directly. Many executive pastors carry false guilt. Guilt that sounds like, I should be doing more pastoral care. I should be more visible. I should be more spiritual. But often, that guilt comes from comparing your role to someone else's calling. You are not called to do everything. You are called to hold the system together so others can do what they are called to do. That's not avoidance, that's obedience. Let me reframe something critical. Burnout in a church is rarely a spiritual failure. It's usually an operational one. Too much vision, too little structure, too many priorities, too little clarity. When leaders burn out, it's often because expectations were unclear. Pace was unsustainable, boundaries were missing. Fixing that is pastoral work, and it often falls to you. So how do you know you're winning as an executive pastor? Ask questions like, are leaders energized or exhausted? Are volunteers growing or cycling out? Are systems improving or constantly patched? Is the church reactive or intentional? If health is increasing, you are doing your job, even if it feels quiet. Here's another tension you'll need to resolve internally. Executive pastors often feel pressured to prove their value, to justify their seat, to show they're not just administrative. So they overwork, they overextend, they carry things they shouldn't. But hear this clearly, you do not prove your value by carrying more. You prove it by creating capacity. Capacity for leaders, capacity for volunteers, capacity for the mission. That's the win. Sometimes sustainability requires saying, no. Not because you don't have faith, but because you do. Faith that longevity matters. Faith that people are more important than programs. Faith that God isn't impressed by exhaustion. As an executive pastor, you will often be the one who says, not yet. Not like this. Not at this pace. That doesn't make you the villain. It makes you the guardian. One day, often years later, you'll look around and notice something. Leaders are still there. Culture feels stable. Systems feel trusted. The church has weathered storms. And very few people will connect that health to you. That's okay, because your reward was never meant to be recognition. It was faithfulness expressed through stewardship. So let's set this deep in your spirit before we go any further. You don't win by being impressive. You win by being consistent. You don't win by being visible. You win by being reliable. You don't win by doing everything. You win by building something that lasts. In the next chapter, we'll get practical. We'll talk about how to take vision and actually translate it into executable reality. How sermons turn into systems, and inspiration turns into alignment. For now, release the pressure to perform. Your calling is not to shine. It's to strengthen the foundation. And that is holy work.